Hi everybody, it's Karl from TurtleBoysAdventures. It's a two-piece between me and my friend Sam, and today I will be working on my 15 Chevy Colorado, also known as Lucille. We'll introduce the trucks later in a different video, but on the way back from Bald Eagle State Park, Sam was driving behind me on the way back home, and he had informed me that my left rear taillight assembly was malfunctioning. The brake light was flashing, at times it would stay on completely, and we're just essentially trying to get in front of it. It's currently storming here, and we are planning on going out this Sunday for more content and more videos to be able to edit, cut, produce, and then publish for you guys to see. Just another area. But I want to get this problem fixed. I don't know what, then really look into the weather to see what it's going to be. Just kind of is what it is. But currently it's storming. Tomorrow it's supposed to storm too. I'd like to have functioning turn signals and brake lights. You know? But with that said, I'll show you the back of it. So overall, I do have aftermarket taillights. I like them generally, how they look. But here and here, my brake lights were illuminating with my marker lights. But one thing I can say that I don't like about these tail lights, and I didn't realize it until the left side had the same issues as I'm having now, is that the truck has factory nickel terminals. The aftermarket tail lights came with copper terminals. It just makes a very easy corrosion point with dissimilar metals. It happens. I've greased them. I've tried to keep water intrusion to a minimal, but it happens. The odds are I'm going to have to eliminate certain connectors and solder straight lines in. My resistors are already bad, so I'm not really worried about that. I have hyper flash. It is annoying, but in time. So I'll get it torn apart, see what the actual issue is, and update you guys then. Okay, so it's kind of as I thought. Definitely a bit of corrosion, and I want to take a little bit of time to probably point out one of the things I like least about how this bed is designed on the Colorados, at least the second gen Colorados. So that's just, and this is after me spraying it with some soapy water. There is so much dirt, debris, sand, mud that gets kicked up into the wheel well of the back of the car and forcibly into where the taillight housing goes. It just coats the back of these. I sprayed this off with a little bit of air just to make it look nicer. But you know, I'm going to eventually try to probably weld a panel down in there, like kind of like a dampener or a shield, to block a lot of the debris that could get up through here, just to help further protect these taillight assemblies or future ones I'll have. But to show you, yeah, there's a healthy bit of corrosion on these terminal ends. There we go, focused up real nice on those. Also, my terminal end cap was separated, and in the male side of the connector, instead of separating the female connector ends, that would sit way down in here. So that could be a problem too. I could have what I refer to as voltage arcing. So we'll say, for example, say this is my brake light and this would be my indicator light. If I don't have a solid separation of those two, there's a chance voltage could jump from this lead to that one without much to worry about at all. If you're at home and doing something similar to this, I do have terminal cleaner here. However, a great at-home terminal cleaner for corrosion is simply hot water. People complain about battery acid and corroded terminals with their batteries. Just get some hot water. Go to your sink, get some really nice hot water in a cup. Make sure the car's off. Battery disconnected is realistically optimal, and pour it on there. That corrosion and the battery acid, I call them green meanies because it's fun. They'll disappear, they'll melt away. And then after that, you want to use some type of terminal protection and stuff like that, but it's not what this is about. Currently, this is just about my taillight. So I'm not really seeing anything else other than, like I said before, I know my load resistors on here are bad. I need to get different ones. I've had very good luck with the Slovenia resistors that you can get at AutoZone or Advanced Auto. Just to show you under here also, the male side on these aren't looking that hot either. I don't have any brakes. Everything feels solid on this side of the loom. It really seems like it's just a connectivity issue, possibly voltage leaching or transfer through these terminal pins. I got to get these cleaned up for sure, and then after that we'll put it together, see what it's doing after that. Hopefully that's all. I'd really love to not spend a ridiculous amount of time dealing with this taillight. It does happen. It's unfortunate. And I did misspeak. I misspoke earlier. I had said that the terminals themselves were different. It's the actual wiring. There was a separate connection here originally on this factory harness. You can see I had soldered and shrink wrapped already. The wire here and the wire here are very different. That's a nickel line here and a copper line here as proof. You can see if it zooms in, it doesn't want to cooperate. Sorry. Getting tongue-tied. Either way, dissimilar metals between those, it was causing a tremendous amount of issues, especially for my left tail light. I just preventatively did it to my right one to take care of an issue from happening further down the line. I mean, you spend a lot of money on these taillights, and it's annoying to have to do maintenance to them afterwards. They're aftermarket though. It's gonna happen. You can't run into these things. My best advice is spend money, get nice ones, read reviews. If you find one from a site that you've used before that you trust, and then you try to look it up on Amazon and it's cheaper, odds are there's reasons why it's cheaper. Either it being janky load resistors, or just metal types that don't line up. You know, they're not the same. That you want similar metal, one for connectivity issues, and two to avoid corrosion. So I'm gonna get this all cleaned up, put it back together. Hopefully we'll be done. Okay, so I'm actually gonna pivot what I think the main issue might be. I do think it's corrosion. Without a doubt, I do think it's corrosion. However, I was putting my connector back together. Let's see if I can, I'm working on my cell phone right now, so let's see if I can get this angled right for you guys. Prop you up against the can here. So the issue is, this is where they fit into the female end connector, and this guy separates them all. So you slide that carefully so that they're all separated very nicely, as you can see in there. And you slide that down in there, and it's supposed to lock in place. That's supposed to is where my problem is. That's supposed to prevent these from sliding out, backwards, and also forward. As you've seen, as soon as I pressed forward, the cap came up a little bit. and now my terminal end is extended. So I'm gonna have to find a way to get this to more securely fit into this side and that it doesn't slide up at all. If that slides up really at all, I'm gonna have voltage transfer between these terminal pins. I might just put some tack underneath here, just kind of make it sticky. I'm not going to glue it because I'm going to want to have to take this terminal end apart again later if I want to service it. So, yeah, I'll probably just put some rubber tack on there and that'll be that, but that's annoying. Well, kind of got worse. Now I have no brake light on the driver passenger side. So, schematic time. Yeah. Okay. So, unfortunately, you guys missed a few things. Yeah, it ended up being a little bit worse than I had anticipated. So, the power line to the taillights and the turn signals had rotted. The corrosion was a little bit past the terminal. I didn't catch it right away. After I plugged it all in, I did show you guys what it was doing. Everything else was working, like the reverse light and the indicator light, but I had no turn signals and no brakes from the right rear. So I obviously tore everything back down, made sure that my pin tension, which is essentially how tightly the female pin is holding onto the male pin, and if it's not that tight, you can get a intermittent no comm or loose connection. That all tested fine. So then I started testing for voltage, and right after the connection I tested and I found a, lack of better words, rusted out line or wires in the power line. So I cut that back, I spliced in there, and I was trying to be fast, so I soldered in a tap line right away there. Turns out, where I showed you earlier that I deleted the connection that was a difference of wire inside of the line, had corroded again. So it might have been from water intrusion, like I showed you how much mud, dirt, sand gets up there. I put a couple extra wraps of electrical tape. I put a very good heat shrink tube on there that it was out of my box that I was using for my vehicles in the past, that I was holding on to. Seemed like a good time to use it. But I ended up having to change the entire power line from the body harness connection of the vehicle all the way to the taillight. So now it works appropriately the way that it should. Both flash, turns off, and works appropriately. So whereas when we were in this part before, the right turn signal would illuminate intermittently. It would just turn on. And also I had a flickering reverse light. So I'm very happy with how this turned out. Obviously that does mean down the line, I'm ultimately probably going to have to change these reverse or taillight assemblies. I've already added in so much wire already, and I have ample amount of space to continue to add wire, and I did that on purpose, expecting this to be a problem. But you know, you kind of run into that. So what I actually did to help circumvent issues in the future for the body harness side, I did a it's like a fisherman, I call it a fisherman's hook type of solder. So what that is on your main line that you don't want to cut or destroy, a lot of people use it as a splice connection, but I didn't want to cut the physical line so that I can hopefully save the harness later. You open it up so that you end up with a fish hook, like an eyelet almost, in the middle of your line that you're wanting to tap power from. So on both sides of the circle that I'm making with my index finger and thumb is still connected to the body, still connected to the connector. And then you add in, right through the hole, your tap line. So what that does for me in this situation is, down the line when I decide to change this brake light, I don't have to also buy a connector end. Hopefully. Doesn't mean I'm not going to have to, but hopefully that's the case. But, you know, they're working. You know, still no flashing lights. Still, you know, sitting there the way it's supposed to. I'm going to flash them. Working exactly the way I want them to. So it makes me feel a lot better. The storm passed because I was here for so long doing this. But it is what it is. Sometimes things don't go the way you expect. And yeah, that's it. Sorry it was kind of boring, but hopefully, you know, this kind of just gives you a peek into the process our trucks are going. It's a very minor thing. It's not very off-road related, other than being safe, making sure my indicators are working, so that Sam or somebody on the road knows that I'm stopping, or knows when I'm accurately turning. I'm going to include that in the videos that we put out on the ride home from Bald Eagle State Forest. I said Bald Eagle State Park earlier. We went to the Bald Eagle State Forest. But along with that video that's going to be coming out, we also have a video from Blackwater Falls, West Virginia, that I'm currently working on, Sam's currently working on. We're working on some voiceovers for part of those videos so that it's not as choppy, not as boring, and kind of explaining our thought process through that trip. But either way, I appreciate you guys watching. If you've made it this far, thank you very much. If not, hey, I get it. Catch you on the next one. You know what I mean? Either way, I'll see ya. And yeah, again, I'm Karl, and this is, I guess, part of the journey for Turtle Boys Adventures. Take it easy.